Good evening. This is Dr. Hodgson, principal of Cypress High School, wanting to welcome our freshman families to our freshman orientation and informational meeting. We are really looking forward to getting off to a great start this year, albeit a little bit different start than you probably expected for what your freshman year of high school was going to look like. But we feel really prepared as a school to make sure that you guys get the best education possible. We absolutely look forward to having you on campus someday. But really tonight, I just want to welcome you all and go through a presentation, do some introductions, and so forth. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Okay, so like I said, here we are at freshman parent orientation. Again, like to welcome you guys to Cypress High School. It's my first year as principal. I've been here a couple of years as an assistant principal. It's a great place, as many of you already know, and those of you don't, we look forward to showing you what a great place it is. Some of the introductions. Again, my name is Dr. Kevin Hodgson. We have 3 assistant principals here, Mr. Sean Pfeiffer, Miss Michelle Surface, and Mrs. Mary Jo Durkin. You can see the the letters next to them are the students' last names that they deal with. And so they will obviously look forward to meeting you as well. We also have a family and community engagement specialist named Jonathan Barba. Towards the end of the presentation, I'll make sure that you guys have all of the contact information here. Mr. Barba does a great job for us as far as community outreach, putting together messaging, and so forth. He is someone that's really critical to the success of our school. Tonight, as you guys can see, and I'll look through the next one, kind of the format of our meeting here is, we're going to talk just quickly about our situation that we sit in now. Mrs. Gaston, our freshman counselor, she's going to present about 5 or 6 slides. We're going to talk about the opening of schools, what your schedule is going to look like, just a little bit about athletics, and then we'll talk about expectations. And then we're trying this. Hopefully this is working right as we speak. So we're doing this through Google Meets, but then streaming through YouTube. So if all is working well, that means you'll be able to ask some questions in the chat. You may want to wait a little bit because a lot of the questions will hopefully be answered. But my assistant principals, we have counselors, Mr. Barba, they'll all be kind of eyeing the chat and answering questions along the way. Additionally, we'll send out, and you may already have access to it, a form. We'll send it via email, as well as we'll put it in the chat at some point, that gives you a way to ask even additional questions. And then gonna go ahead and post the actual presentation that we're doing here. So there'll be a video that'll be posted, as well as the slides, they'll be posted. And then based on the questions that we don't get to, that you've asked either in the forums or through the comment section in the chat, we'll go ahead and we'll post those as well in a written form. So if you missed tonight's meeting or a part of tonight's meeting, all of it will be available. Okay, so why are we here? As you know, we're starting in a distance learning model, which means basically all of our school will be virtual. As of now, the long story short is Orange County is a county that's on a watch list, and the school's grades K through 12 are currently closed to in-person learning. You may have heard something regarding elementary schools. There is a waiver. There's, as everything, information changing day by day. But there is a waiver that elementary schools can apply for to potentially have some type of in-person school. So we are not an elementary school, as you know, so we don't even have a choice right now. We don't have a waiver to apply for. We're out of, obviously as we're required, but also because, we're trying to do things as safely as possible. We'll be starting in this virtual model. The thing for tonight, we're not expecting to be able to answer every question. I want you guys to really feel assured that, as we move forward after tonight, there's going to be, athletic nights. There's going to be different grade level nights. There's going to be plenty of time for us to get out more information. If you look at that last point there, it's kind of the key here. Really just want to make sure that our students know what they need to do and make sure we get the school year started correctly. Registration, I'll do this very quickly because our school, we are in great shape. So congratulations to all of you out there. We're like 98.5, 98.7, something like that, percent of our students are already registered. So if you're not registered, you just want to contact the school. And like I said, at the end of this, there'll be a slide that gives you that kind of information, our contact information. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, before I get into all of like the nuts and bolts of how the school year is going to work, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Gaston. She's your counselor, and what's great about the way our counselors work is they will start with you as a freshman, and then they move up with you each grade year. So they really get to know our students, and it's just it's really helpful to do it that way. So, Mrs. Gaston, she's going to introduce herself here, talk a few things kind of that are related just to freshmen only. But just know, again, this is the first contact you'll have with her. You'll have lots and lots of contact throughout the year. So go ahead, Mrs. Gaston.
Hello, and welcome parents and any students that are out here. Thank you, Dr. Hodgson. We are grade level looping, as Dr. Hodgson said, and I think it's a really advantage that right now I will only deal with freshmen. So, and I get to move up with your students. Just graduated the class of 2020, and I am really looking forward to working with the class of 2024. In our counseling department, we have guidance services. So we have guidance lessons throughout the whole year. So it's not just looking at your students' grades and scheduling classes. We have academic counseling. So that's in the realm of grades, academics. What do you need to graduate? What do you need to meet the 4-year college requirements? Career guidance. We start that freshman year and we build on it every year. So there's guidance lessons, freshman, sophomore, junior year, and then senior year into college. So I really find the career component very, very exciting. So I'm looking forward to working with your kids on that. Personal social guidance, we do safety lessons with the kids. For freshmen, well, actually, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So how we get our program out to the students: classroom guidance lessons, small group conferencing, individuals, parent and student groups. I've had several meetings already with parents, informal interactions when we're out doing the art supervisions. We use Schoology. We have a counseling website with Schoology. And at this time, all of our guidance lessons will be virtual. We are getting training on that and how we do it. So for the freshman year, what we do, the very first thing is I will introduce myself to the kids somehow. And then we do just a requirements review. This is what you need to graduate. And then one of the very first things that I love to do with the kids is study habits and expectations. This is what you should be doing as a high school student. Now, you'll notice on this slide so now I have the sun. This is the home office, and it gets very bright in here in the afternoon, and my shade just fell down. But that's part of online learning. So back to the slide, you'll see at number 2 and 4, the career personal profile, that's twice. So many of you know, if you haven't had a student before, if you saw your student schedule now, your students will have a health class. So half the freshmen will be in health, and the other half are in some kind of computer course. And then at the semester, they swap. So we do the career and personal profile through the computer classes. It's just easier through the computer classes. So half the kids will get it in the first semester and half will get it second semester. 4-year plan. I love doing 4-year plans with the kids. This does not set anything in stone for the students. What it gives the students is an opportunity. Oh, this is this is kind of a goal. This is where I need to go. This is where I want to be. You can definitely change things on a 4-year plan, but the idea is that the students learn what they need to graduate and what they need for their future goals. Okay. Oh. And then, okay, so there's a lot of transition. I always find coming back into freshman year after having seniors, one of the biggest change is in the boys. They're usually shorter than I am at this point. Hopefully we'll get back on campus so we can see that. And then by the time senior year comes around, they're all taller than me. So, but you've got their childhood into adolescence into adulthood. And just as seniors, a lot of them are 17, 18, a lot of 18-year-olds senior year. And where do they go as adults? So there's a lot of change. One of the things that I want you to remember is that they still need you. Teenagers, even with all the changes, they still need you, and they need you involved in their education. They might not act like it, but they really do. It's good when your kids see that you're involved in school, whether it be the PTA, the booster clubs, school committees. They might say no, that they don't like it, but typically, if they know you're involved, they know you care. So that's something just to think about. Acting out is teenagers. Teenagers act out. They're going to push the boundaries as far as you will let them. So please just keep your boundaries. They'll push you as far as you let them push you. Okay. And next slide. One thing that I've done with my own kids, and I like to tell parents about, and it's good for teenagers, and it goes into the boundaries, is the word wait. And when you think about waiting, it's why am I talking? So for teenagers, one of the most important things you can do for them is just listen. And I know from experience, I've been where you are as parents. I have 4 of my own kids. My youngest just graduated college. So, and I had one that hated school. So I've been there. I know teenagers. So my own kids tell me, Mom, I don't need you to solve it. I just need you to listen. So that's something you can think about. Wait. Again, why am I talking? So that's just a good acronym to remember. For some of your kids, homework equals pain. And something you can do as a parent is just to look at their Schoology with them. Have them look at Schoology and their areas and report back to you on what they're seeing. So open up discussion versus, did you do this? Did you do that? You want to talk to them about it. Asking your kids open-ended questions. Instead of saying, did you do your homework? You can say, tell me about your day. Okay. This slide here, we have lots of websites. I mean, lots of resources for you. The first one, these are all links to it. So when you get this PowerPoint in an email, you will have links to this. In the first one, our Cypress Counseling our own page, our counseling page, and then how to study, learning from home during a pandemic, and then how to homeschool during stay-at-home orders. So, because you're definitely involved. So these are just some resources for you. Now, this one is our counseling team. So the main counseling phone number is 714-220-4178. And we do have a secretary that helps all 5 of us counselors. Now, I know there might be some new families here, so this has by grade level. For later on, Mr. Hurtado, and for freshman parents and any new families interested in sports, Mr. Hurtado actually helps us with that quite a bit in changing the sports schedule. And then later on, freshmen are not eligible for dual enrollment till second semester, so please, no questions about dual enrollment till later. We have enough trying to get online with school without the dual enrollment, but Mr. Hurtado, that's one of his areas that he works on, is dual enrollment in the sports. And there's the other grade levels there. I am looking forward to working with all you parents and students alike, and looking forward to the class of 2024. Thank you. Back to Dr. Hodgson.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Our counseling department here really works well as a team. We're lucky to have them, and always looking out for the benefit of our students. And so we put the contact information. Obviously, you'll do most of your work through Mrs. Gaston and Mr. Hurtado, like she said, for the athletics. But I tell you, they all work really well together. And once we're back on campus, you'll get to see them all and benefit from all of their expertise.
Dr. Hodgson, can I say one thing? I forgot it was in my notes, and I forgot to read my own notes. Parents, I've gotten a lot of emails since the schedules went out. So just a couple of quick answers to our titles changed over the summer. So I know a lot of kids are concerned. They think they're going back in math, and that's not the case. So what used to be Math 3 is now Math 1. So it's just the title change. The students, whatever they put in their schedule last year is what they got. So Math 1 is Math 3. Math 3-4 honors is now Math 1-2 honors. And then the science, the biology is called the Living Earth. So biology is the same as Living Earth. Those are two main questions that have come up today. So just something to keep in mind. And then I know Dr. Hodgson will be talking about the sports later. So that will come up. I know that's another major question. And thank you, and I will sign off.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll get to some of the athletics, and really, I just, as much anxiety as there is right now for everyone, going into a school year in a way maybe we didn't expect to. I can just tell you that our team, whether it's our counselors, our administrators, our teachers, our staff, we're all preparing and prepared for this. And so we plan to be flexible and work with you all. Okay, so I wanted to now kind of touch upon some of more of the nuts and bolts of what the school year is going to look like. So as you guys know, the first day of school is August 12th. So we're, less than a week away from our first day of school, rather. All classes are going to be using Schoology platform. It's possible within that Schoology platform that they'll bring in some other tools and so forth. But the main place, and what's nice for us is those of you, which is most of you, that went to one of our schools, and most of you probably Lexington, were using Schoology at the end of the year. So what should happen, and may have already happened as I speak, if not by tomorrow, the plan anyways, and I'll update you with emails if it's different, is that you're going to be able to log into your Schoology account within the next 24, 48 hours. And really that's the only thing when it comes down to it, that's what you really need to make sure that you can do, is log into your Schoology account. We'll put some separate videos that we'll post on our website and put out emails for assistance on Schoology. But if you can log into Schoology, you're about 90% of the way to knowing what to do on that first day of school. The campus itself is still not open to the public. So we're running kind of not a full staff on campus every day, just trying to keep exposure down as much as possible. And so it's best if you can call and make an appointment. And that appointment, if need be, it would be on campus, but we're finding that we're able to do about 90-95% of our appointments to help our families virtually through either Google Meets or a phone call, something like that. So if you feel like you need to come to campus, give us a call first, because I don't want you to waste a trip and find, hey, you were trying to talk to such and such and they're not even on campus. Okay. One of the big things I think, and as Miss Gaston mentioned, she has children. I have two kids myself, and they're 9 and 11. So 4th and 6th grade. And to be honest, last year, looking at what they had to do, it was not that great. But I think it's really key to remember that last year, the distance learning, it was kind of survival. And what made it even harder is, if you recall, on the first day that we left, the idea was, we're going to be gone for 2 weeks. It's just going to be a little bit longer spring break. So at that point, there's no change. We're just going to have a long spring break, come back like normal. And then it was another week, and then it was another week. And it really wasn't until about a month into it where it was like, all right, we're not coming back. And, at that point, there's only so much you can do. So I expect it to be much, much different, much more rigorous this year. It's just going to be. There will not be a hold harmless policy, for example. So if you remember last year, whatever your grade was at the third quarter, it couldn't drop. So that, didn't necessarily help with motivation on one hand, but at the same time, to try and recreate a new learning style and a new teaching style overnight, the whole hold harmless policy made sense. Our district is kind of calling it compassionate grading from the standpoint of it's going to be new for everyone this year. And so we're really going to work hard trying to have grace for everyone involved in this situation. But do expect it to be, a rigorous school day and we'll get to what each day looks like. But our students will be engaged 5 days a week. You just want to communicate as often as possible. We have all of our staff emails listed on our website, but through the first couple of days of schools, you'll be getting all kinds of information on how to contact teachers. I sent this out to you guys. This is what our schedule looks like. Basically, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're going to just hear the term synchronous a lot. And so what synchronous means, it's truly live. Classes happening, similarly to the way it would be happening in a normal school day. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays are asynchronous, which means they're not necessarily live, but there'll be a bunch of different ways that we're engaging our students on those days. In some ways, this model, although it presents its challenge, it also presents some really good opportunities on those asynchronous days, working on projects, working in smaller groups for much longer time. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second, but that's going to be the schedule. So beginning Wednesday, August 12th, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, this is what your schedule looks like. So those of you, which I don't think there'll be very many freshmen that have a zero period, you'd be starting at 7:35. Otherwise, period 1 starts at 8:30. The classes are 40 minutes each. And then I think it's important to understand a couple of things. One, there's a 15-minute break in between. One of the challenges that we're definitely worried about for both, teachers as well as students, obviously, is just so much screen time, sitting in front of a computer that long. So a lot went into looking at this and deciding how the schedule should be. But what kind of finally came out of the task force was 40-minute class periods with a 15-minute break. And then you can see there's about an hour lunch. We'll send some more separate emails out for lunch, but we are going to be offering lunch in kind of like a drive-through way. So if you're someone that's always kind of relied on getting a school lunch, you'll be able to do that as long as you can get down to our campus between the hours of 11:55 and 12:55. If you happen to live closer to another school, you can go to that school too. So you'll be able to go to any school that in any of our schools to get lunch. The Tuesday, Thursday, as I mentioned, they're asynchronous. So there's lots of potential things that will happen on these days. We kind of call them student support days. There'll be teachers that will have set up different group meetings. They'll have teachers that will set up things, office hours. Students will have to submit something for each class each day. And so, you'll get a lot more instruction on that in the individual classes, but you're going to need to be engaged in each class, even on these Tuesdays and Thursdays. There may be time for our teachers to provide lessons during these days as well. So there'll be a lot of options on these Tuesdays and Thursdays. But like I said, I kind of look at it as there'll be some pretty good opportunities for us. Just kind of going through the expectations, we have expectations for our teachers to be prepared with grid lessons, to engage students for the entire period, to use Schoology. As I said before, there may be some other apps and things used within Schoology, but you'll be starting off your classes by going to Schoology, where we expect our teachers' cameras to be on, making the class interactive. So like one of the things that you'll see, there's ways to do group work through Schoology. There's ways to, there's ways to have class discussions and so forth. We expect our teachers to communicate as always, and we expect them to schedule meetings as necessary. So really not a terribly different expectations than in just a normal school year. For students, we expect you guys to get to class on time. Logging into Schoology. We do expect you to have a computer with a camera, so we can get you a Chromebook with a camera if need be. We've put out a couple of emails with links on how you do that, but we'll keep doing reminders. The thing about that, though, which is nice, is just so you know, so as a student, when your camera's on, your teachers can see you, but the others can't unless you go into a breakout group. So it's possible your teachers can put you in a group of 6, and then the 6 of you will be able to see each other and communicate and so forth. But in the general overall classroom, even with your computer on, your teachers can see you, and we need that just so we can kind of say, yes, the student was here, and give you credit for attendance. But other than when you're in groups, your other students won't see you. We expect you to interact with the teacher, do the work, connect, when you have questions or when they have questions. We want you to maintain your good grades, and so you can do sports, band, choir, all those other things, all the fun parts of school. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But again, these expectations are not terribly different than what we would want from our Centurions on a typical year. Expectations for our families: ensure your student has their own device. We can provide one for you. So again, links have come out. We'll continue that. And we want to make sure that students aren't sharing them at home. And so, yeah, if you need a device, please let us know, and we'll get you one. You want to have somewhere quiet to sit. You want to help your as much as possible, make sure your students are attending class. And then you want to communicate with us as well. Teachers, admin if needed, counselors, and so forth. Expectations of our counselor: we will have, they will check in synchronously, meaning sometimes they'll put presentations out. Sometimes they'll actually be meeting with groups of students. They'll be monitoring your progress. They'll work individually with you. We're going to work with teachers. Our counselors, as Ms. Gaston said, they'll continue to deliver their lessons. Our counselors here actually have a curriculum that we want to get to our students, and then obviously they'll meet with parents as needed as well. And then our expectations of our admin. It's our job to make sure this is working. And so whether it's me or my team, that's our job. Our job is to make sure everything is coming together, and when there's hiccups or a change need, we make it happen. I feel very, very, very strongly that my job is to support our teachers and give them what they need to, provide a good instruction for our students. It's our job to communicate with you guys. And so we've been trying the last month or so, giving you guys, a couple of updates every week. Once we really get going, it'll be once per week that you can count on. It'll be a little bit of a shift from last year if you have older students. Last year, I think our update went out on Thursday nights. What I'm going to do is our weekly update will come out on Sunday nights, just kind of getting us ready for the week. And then, like I said, make sure everything runs smoothly as designed. A little bit of information on athletics. As a lot of you probably know, CIF has moved all of our sports to December. As a couple sports have start dates in December. A couple sports have their practices start in December. And one of the big changes, other than them starting in December and January, is instead of having 3 seasons of sport, we're only going to have 2 seasons of sport. So what would typically have a fall, winter, and spring, well, now we're just going to have these 2 seasons. So those 3 seasons combined into 2, it's going to cause a little bit of havoc for some of our multi-sport athletes. It's going to cause some issues with facilities, but all challenges that we can overcome. We just want to get, whether it's our athletics, whether it's our band. I know Mr. Kieran's been reaching out to a lot of you. We just want to get our students active as soon as possible. At some point, there's the possibility of a summer practice mode, which is camps. But we'll put a lot more information out there. One thing you can do if you see yourself as trying out for a sport, or maybe you went to the camp and you're already done with it, but if not, When this PowerPoint is downloaded for you, you can see where it says athletic paperwork. That's actually a link that will take you into what you need to do if you have interest in playing a sport. Okay, so there's a process there that talks about, filling out some paperwork, getting a physical, and then bringing that in. We call them clearance days. So we will we'll start the process again. We had a big clearance day this summer. We'll do it. We'll get going on those again within probably a couple of weeks. Obviously, we'll give you notification, but where you can bring that paperwork in. It's really important for the paperwork to hang on to it. The hard copy, we need a hard copy, not an email. So don't email the paperwork in. We'll schedule those clearance days very, very soon. As far as our athletic directors, Mr. Russell, Mr. Slevkov, both great teachers first, and then they're really good athletic directors. So I've put their contact information. If you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to them. I know one of the issues with freshmen, especially this year, because our summer camps didn't get started for all of our sports. So there's probably some of you thinking, hey, I should be in an athletic class. If that's the case, you want to email Mr. Hurtado. So those of you that are thinking, hey, I should be in some kind of a sport right now, because our sports are still going to be kind of going virtually from sixth period. Mr. Hurtado, and like I said, we'll put the link out available for you, but Mr. Hurtado is the one who kind of coordinates between our coaches and counseling as far as their schedule. So that's who you want to reach out to if you feel like, hey, I'm in a second period PE or if you think you're in a sport. So you'll definitely want to reach out to him. Okay. So we'll just kind of keep you guys posted. Athletics is changing every day. VAPA, as far as our performing arts, that stuff's been changing every day. I know Mr. Q has been meeting with his students. And so we'll just keep you updated as we get that information. Okay, here's our contact information of the administration. Again, don't feel like you need to copy this down. We'll go ahead and put it out for you electronically after this presentation. But do reach out to us as needed. We really have open door policy here, and I guess this year it's open email policy, at least to start. We would rather solve things as they're little than let problems get big. So feel free to contact any of us at any time through email for now, but as it comes down, once we get back on the campus, please come visit us. Okay, so that's kind of it. It's a lot of information, and like I said, don't feel like you need to remember all of this. When it comes down to it for you guys, we just need you to log into Schoology on August 12th, because we're going to have a lot of support from there on out with you, and so don't feel like you need to have every answer. We get it. We absolutely get it. We understand. We're here for you. We want you to succeed. Your success is our success, and we truly feel that way here. We look forward to seeing you all. Hopefully they've been able to answer questions in the chat or the comment section. We'll make a copy of it. We'll put together an FAQ that lists answers if we feel like anything wasn't answered. And then again, you'll have that form if you don't have it already in there. In the follow-up email, you'll have a form where you can ask more questions, and we'll put more answers out. We really want to do our best to keep you guys up to date with what's going on. All right, so I guess that's gonna do it for tonight. I really appreciate you spending this time. I know it's not always the most exciting to do it in this format, and it would be much better if we were doing this on campus with our band and our cheerleaders and some of our teachers. But unfortunately, we're not in that situation yet, but we absolutely will get there. It's one of our goals to still create Centurion spirit, through our ASB, and we're going to get everybody pumped up to be here, to be a part of our family, because we think it's a great place. We know it can get better, and that's what we strive to do, is to get better every day. All right. Well, thank you so much for participating in this. And like I said, you'll get much more information following up. Any questions, please reach out to us. All right. Have a great night, everybody. And we'll see you soon.